One of the funniest things I ever hear flat earthers say is, "Where is the curve?" It usually follows some ridiculous observation where they haven't recorded any specific details and the result they get seems to them to be a massive victory. Now, I've actually found one of those types of videos from a flat earther that is quite different. Different how, you might be saying? Well, it's actually worse. Hello all and welcome along to another episode of Flat Earth Friday with me, Simon Dan. Thank you very much for joining me. Before we begin today, a massive thank you to the sponsors of today's video, Ground News. As a regular viewer of this channel, and actually even if you're not, you know that internet algorithms are designed to show us content similar to things we've interacted with before. And that just reinforces existing beliefs and biases. So if a flat earther, for example, continually searches and engages with flat earth content, they'll most likely only see more of the same. This echo chamber effect makes it very difficult for people to encounter diverse perspectives that would challenge any normal misconceptions they have. Today's sponsor, Ground News, was actually founded by Harleen Kaur, a former NASA engineer who worked on the James Webb Telescope, and she wanted a more objective and data-driven way to stay informed, something extremely helpful in today's media-driven world. Take, for example, this recent news on a French-Chinese satellite collaboration which was designed to detect gamma-ray bursts from billions of light years away. Now, Ground News aggregated 55 articles published on this. According to these visual breakdowns, we can see coverage is coming from across the political spectrum and from sources rated highly credible, meaning their reporting tends to be less subjective. And I can even filter my list of articles by factuality to instantly find the most reliable information. It's great that Ground News prioritises giving access to all the information with context, instead of algorithms that can skew your perception of reality. But you can always create your own custom feed to stay fully informed on news most important to you, like science, technology, or politics. I mean, it goes without saying that Ground News is the absolute antithesis of what the Flat Earth movement is trying to do. And that is why I love them. Check them out at ground.news/Simon or use my QR code here to save 40% on the same Vantage plan that I use for unlimited access to their features. Right, on with today's video, which is actually from our sundial expert from a few weeks ago with the Sun 33. He has done some observations local to him, which he thinks proves there is no curvature. However, this one's so bad, it's actually amazing. Here we go.
So yesterday I went to the beach with my Nikon P950 and I went to New London, Connecticut because I wanted to film and check it out and see what was going on, because directly across from the beach in New London, Connecticut, 20 miles away, is an island. So I figured I would zoom my camera in and take a look at the island and then try and do some measurements for curvature and see if we can notice any curvature, because this camera is incredible.
Okay, great. So you're near New London, not sure exactly where yet, and you're aiming to look at the northeastern tip of Long Island. Gotcha.
So take a look at this. This is where we were, and it shows you I wanted to prove the distance, so I went to Google Earth and proved from point A to point B, because A is where I'm standing and point B is where I'm going to be looking. So now I want you to take a look, and I didn't get fancy with this. I didn't measure anything with tape measures and put my camera at a certain height. I just want it to be simple, because if we put 20 miles, which is the distance, into an Earth's curvature calculator, it gives us this number. Let's take a look at this. So it tells us 266.75 feet of curve. That's how much curve there is supposed to be, honestly. So
okay, so you haven't shown us exactly where, but given the orientation of your filming and the sandy beach you were on, I would postulate that you were on this beach. And this appears to be Waterford Beach. Now, the distance from this beach to the tip of that island is 20.6 miles. I think we're all up to speed so far. Interesting that you've not recorded anything else regarding other details.
Like even the buildings on this island, you shouldn't really see. You shouldn't be able to see much of what's going on here, but of course you can, because there is not 276 feet of curve here. There's no curve. Water is level, and it always finds its level. When water lands on something, it will find its level. That's how water works. Water does not stick to a ball. And of course, we've been lied to. Now that we have cameras that can zoom way, way, way in, way beyond curvature, and just so many proofs, it's almost incredible that people can still believe. But of course, we've had this information, this fake information, shoved down our throat now since we were children, and that's how it works.
Well, your footage is awful, that's a given. But crucially, you're missing a few things, and I think you'll find if you look into them a bit, it's not going to help you much at all. We have the distance, that's fine, 20.6 miles to that northeastern tip. However, some parts of Long Island are only 18.5 miles away from you at that beach. And some areas are elevated up to 50 metres. Typically though, the elevation on that part of Long Island ranges between 0 and 30 metres. And then we've got to take into account your position on Waterford Beach. From your footage at the start, it clearly shows you that you're not at the water's edge. Now this could put you at 2 metres above sea level. Now of course we've got to add 1.5 metres because you're holding the camera at about head height. You don't look like an especially tall guy. So that would give us an observer height of around 3.5 metres. Now, let's put all of that into our proper curve calculator, shall we? Oh dear, 45 metres hidden. Well, that doesn't work. Has this flat earther been able to do what no other flurf has done before? No, don't worry, he hasn't. Because he's looking at a different piece of land that he thinks he's looking at. And I know that because of this. This is a lighthouse. The Montauk Point Lighthouse. It's 33 metres tall, but crucially the focal height, which includes the ground it's standing on, is 51 metres. Now if we go back to his footage, there is absolutely no sign of an object that tall that stands out from the rest of the island. I postulate that our flat earth friend is actually looking at this piece of land, not the northeastern tip of Long Island. And you know why I think that? Because he specifically said this earlier.
Like even the buildings on this island, you shouldn't really see. You shouldn't be able to see much of what's going on here.
Let's go back to our map. There are no buildings on that tip of the island to the far left, apart from that lighthouse. There are buildings over here, and some of those buildings are set on land over 50 metres in elevation. Now if we pop our new distance into the curve calculator, we can see that only 33 metres should be hidden. Plenty of room to be able to see both land and houses on that part of the island.
If you perceive that we're living on a spinning ball, a magical spinning ball of water, then that is going to be your reality until you prove it to yourself that we are not. I know this picture is not as focused as I would like it to be, at least, but you have to understand 266 feet of curve. There is no curve here. You're looking directly across at an island that's 20 miles and you're seeing the entire thing.
And of course there's absolutely no way that our flurf can be totally sure of that. He's just saying it.
All right. I wish this was not as blurry, but still I think it proves its point. All right. I don't need to measure anything. I don't need to go crazy to prove the fact that there is not almost 300 feet of curvature here.
But you sort of do need to go and measure those things. Accuracy is key with these sorts of observations.
It's not curving. Everything is upright. It's so ridiculous to consider that things are curving. It's just not. We've been indoctrinated, we've been lied to, and mentalism, again, is the very first key. If you perceive something, it becomes your reality. Now, take a look at this. This I thought was really cool too. Look at this house. What is this house doing in the middle of the ocean here? Look at this.
That's not a house. That is the New London Ledge Lighthouse.
What is that doing there? You know, I bet you that house has a really interesting story. Like it was probably, founded by somebody in the 1800s and burnt down 9 times. And I'm sure it has a crazy story.
Nope. Built in 1909 as a lighthouse and is still a lighthouse.
I'm sure there's a reason why it's out there too, right in front of everyone's face, right in the water. They're trying to tell us something. They really are.
Yeah, they're telling ships that there's land there. That's the job of a lighthouse.
And with all this 19th century architecture that doesn't seem like we built, seems like maybe we found it, seems like maybe Christopher Columbus, who discovered America in 1492 after he sailed the ocean blue. Hip hip hooray, yay. And I'm so glad it turned into a nursery rhyme as well. Or did it start out as a nursery rhyme? We got to ask ourselves that, because it seems like whenever they take a serious endeavor and turn it into a nursery rhyme, it just might not be that serious of an endeavor to begin with. You know what I'm saying?
No. Nursery rhymes are a great way to teach kids things from an early age. That's it. Wow. Well, what do you think there of With the Sun 33's observations with his lovely Nikon P950? Let me know in the comments below what you think of them. If you think my analysis is wrong and you're from that area and you know where he is looking at, then let me know in the comments as well. I'd really appreciate that. But for now, we're all done and debunked for another Flat Earth Friday. Thanks so much for watching today. It truly is appreciated. If you enjoyed it, consider hitting the subscribe button, the thumbs up, and sharing as well if the feeling takes you. All of that would be hugely appreciated. Just enough time to once again thank Ground News for sponsoring today's video. Check them out at groundnews/Simon, and then you can use my link to save 40% on the same Vantage plan that I use for unlimited access to all their features. Thanks again to Ground News for sponsoring the video. I've been Simon Dan, have yourselves a great day, and I'll see you all tomorrow for another Saturday session. See you then.